Hi everyone, long time no see, welcome back. In today's video, we're gonna go through why I left my job as a staff nurse and just took a chance and started traveling, and talking about what I've learned so far and the pros and cons of my experience. So grab your coffee, sit back, and let's get into it. So I feel like travel nursing's just become such a big thing lately. Obviously with COVID, the rates were like insane and that's what we keep hearing. And then we see these travel nurses all over Instagram, like with their Maseratis and their Porsches and all that. And then we hear about like the big name brands for travel staffing. And I just want to say that's not why I got into traveling. I just got into it because I was so comfortable at my job, and I'm just a person who strives to be uncomfortable. I feel like for me, being uncomfortable allows me to learn a lot more and push myself as a person and as a nurse, which is so funny because my first year as a nurse, all I wanted to do was get to that spot where I was comfortable every day, where I wasn't shitting bricks coming into work. Once I got there and I felt like I knew what I was doing, obviously I don't know everything, but I felt comfortable enough. I was like, okay, maybe now. So I ended up applying for a different position in the hospital and I didn't get it. And instead of taking that as like defeat and as like a stopping point, like stay where you are, I was like, no, let's go travel. I always wanted to travel in nursing school. I talked about it. And so I just kind of went for it, no better time than now. But I'm not the traveling nurse who goes with like the big the companies that you hear about that do 6 days a week. Like that's just too much for me. I could never do that. I can barely make it like 3 days a week. Okay, like 6 days a week, y'all would never see me again. Okay, it would be very bad. I just don't think that's really healthy, to be honest, but who's for me to say what other people do? So do you, boo boo, by any means, but you need to consider everything. The reason why I really got into traveling was not just for the money, it was more so just for the experience. At the end of the day, I don't see myself staying as a med-surg nurse for forever, but I just want to travel and get to know other hospitals and areas to see like what I can do to help my practice and like what I can learn from them, but also just to experience other states. I've never lived outside of Florida a day in my life, so getting to live outside of Florida, getting to work, getting to experience and like live in another state is by far the coolest thing ever. I've met some of the best people at the hospital I work with. They are so kind. I'm so thankful that they were so kind to me and so welcoming because I've heard horror stories. And the coworkers I have now are seriously amazing. Like they always help me. They told me from day one, like we're a team here. Like if you ever need help, come find me. I think sometimes I regret it because like sometimes I ask a lot, but sorry. Much love to all of you. If you're watching this, thank you for everything. But it has been really good. It's been nice going from a large hospital with a ton of resources to a smaller hospital because it has allowed me to kind of problem solve more independently and on my own with the help of the doctors versus a larger hospital with a lot of resources. So for example, at my other hospital, we had a rapid response team, right? Every hospital has that. But it was a little bit different from what I see now because you could just call rapid response like for anything, literally anything. Like, oh, hi, my patient's more confused. Okay, call rapid response. They're gonna come assess the patient and they're gonna think about what's going on. Versus now, okay, like my patient's more confused. What do you think is going on? Let's call the doctor. Let's figure it out. Now, obviously, like we still call rapids when it's necessary, but it's just a different team. This is more of like a traditional rapid response team I think you hear about with the doctor, the ICU nurse, respiratory, all of that. Whereas like for me, that was a rapid response, but not the rapid response team that I was used to. So it's just been nice to like work in a different setting that kind of pushes you more to problem solve. And I really do enjoy that a lot. Now, I personally don't see myself staying as like a career travel nurse. That's just for me. I really do miss like having my home to come home to at the end of the day. Like, I think my housing so far has been perfect and I love it, but it's been hard not getting to set it up the way I wanted to. Like, my home for me has always been like my safe haven. Like, I love coming home and I still do now, but I don't know, there's something about knowing that it's temporary and then I'm just gonna pack up a suitcase. That's great, but also at the same time, it's just not for me. And I can't wait to finish out traveling and kind of figure out where I want to be, what state I want to be in, certain cities, all that, so that I can like settle down and start picking out my house. And I know a lot of times you hear travel nurses being like, I could never go back to being a staff nurse. I could never go back to being a staff nurse. I need this, maybe I'll do per diem. But for me personally, like, that's not the case. Also because I don't want to stay in the type of nursing that I'm in now. I want to further it, and I have plans for myself that don't allow me to stay as a traveling nurse permanently. But I'm glad that I'm doing it now to get the experience to carry on with me. Another thing I will say is I do think it's important to shop around different agencies, and I think that's something that a lot of people know, but a lot of people settle when it comes to their first traveling assignment. There's no need to settle. Shop around and find the recruiter that works for you. We hear a lot about certain companies and oh, they're great, but if you and your recruiter don't get along, how good's your experience going to be? Because your recruiter really does make or break, and your recruiter is your liaison for the hospital. So I think that's also an important thing that a lot of people don't talk about. Now, I just need to say, one of the most important things I've learned as a new traveler is, honey, they don't care how you did it at home. Okay, unless they asking, they don't care. I think that was like my biggest mistake, is like I'm so set in my ways of how we used to do it, and I really needed to understand like nobody gives a shit. Like nobody cares how you used to do it, because this is how we do it here. Okay, you're not here to change things, you're here to fall in line and go along with it. Now, if somebody asks you for your recommendation or, hey, how did you do it? By all means, go ahead, let them know. But nobody cares, okay? Well, guys, that's really all I have for you so far on this video for travel nursing. If you want to hear more about my experience, how I chose my company, how it goes when you get to your new location and all of that, please feel free to let me know. I would love to do another video on this and how I chose the area I chose and all of that. Just let me know down in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. I look forward to doing more of these coffee talk videos with you. Let me not ramble. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit bougier now because I'm a travel nurse. Whatever.